So, to be honest, I am extremely disappointed. Basically, 80% were shooters. Just shooters.
Hey, what's poppin', Kings? Hope you're having a great day today. Got a video I want to break down with you guys. The title of this video is Microsoft Xbox E3 2021 Game Showcase Angry Reaction. Now, the absolute gem of a video is made by a Sony pony who's big mad that Xbox isn't catering to his specific desires and wishes. We're going to break down all of this guy's arguments and bad takes, and maybe you'll learn something from this video and be all the wiser once we're done. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Hi and welcome back. I just finished watching the E3 game conference show from Microsoft for 2021.
I don't know if any of you have noticed, but a lot of bad takes are made right after someone just finished watching something or just saw something in general. It's almost as if their brains haven't been able to fully process and think about what they've watched yet. Now, here's a pro tip for anyone watching this. Whenever reasonably possible, always take the time to process your thoughts and emotions before doing anything. Otherwise, you end up spouting off hilariously bad takes and being retarded like this dingus of a Sony fanboy right here.
I kind of had high hopes for it. They have been talking about all their game studios. They have been talking about bringing a lot more games to the Xbox systems and Game Pass, etc.
Bro, that's exactly what Xbox is doing. They said they were bringing more games to Xbox and Game Pass, and that's exactly what they're doing. They never specified how exactly they were going to do it and whether or not they were all going to be exclusives or not. They just said they're bringing more games to Xbox.
But, wow. Basically, 80% were shooters. Just shooters. They even ended with a shooter.
Now, this guy's either retarded or he's actually lying. Either way, he's got a bad take, and for two reasons. I'll explain why. So, reason 1. Xbox is most popular among the Western market, and a significant portion of Western players like shooter games. Saying that it's bad that Xbox showed off mostly shooters is like saying that it's bad that Boeing is showing off bombers to the Air Force. It's literally their target market, so of fucking course Xbox is gonna focus their efforts on getting them to buy their shit. Conversely, Sony tends to not emphasize shooters because shooters aren't as popular in Japan. It's literally business 101. You don't sell a product that your customers don't want. Reason 2 why this guy's either retarded or lying is that out of the 31 games that Xbox showed off, 17 of them, let's count that again, 17 of them are not shooters. Let's repeat that for the retards on the audience now. Over half of the games showcased aren't even shooters. This leaves 11 games that are likely to be or will actually be shooters, and then there's 3 that's too ambiguous for me to realistically categorize. Well over half of the games showcased aren't shooters, and yet this retard somehow thought that 80% of the games shown off were shooters. This is what happens when you don't take the time to process your shit before you spout it. You end up not only having a bad take, but also being objectively wrong.
Holy shit. And they even talked about, yeah, we're working on Elder Scrolls 6, yeah, duh. Yeah, we're working on a new Fable, yes, we're working on this, we're working on that, but nothing has been shown. I mean, seriously, come on, how much time do you need to let people see a little bit of gameplay?
They'll show gameplay when it's ready. Most AAA games take sometime between 2 to 3 years of full production to be developed. This doesn't yet count the possible years the team spends on pre-production. Now, Fable was only announced last year. I hardly think they'd have anything ready to show by now. And as for Elder Scrolls 6, well, there is usually a 4 or 5 year gap between mainline Bethesda games. As you know, that's their average development time. Add to that Todd and his team are still focused on Starfield until a little past 2022, since they're still going to support it with patches and stuff. then we can reasonably assume that Elder Scrolls 6 will come out around maybe 2026. Knowing all of that, we can then reasonably conclude that there is literally nothing to see with Elder Scrolls 6.
So they did start out really interesting with Starfield, and I'm like, okay, finally, we're gonna see something cool. It was like 20 seconds of nothing saying in-game graphics, just showing a little bit of graphics. I mean,
Again, another moment where this dude is either retarded or straight up lying. No official source has ever claimed the footage shown was actual in-game footage. The claim was that the trailer is rendered in real time with the upgraded creation engine. It's supposed to be a showcase of what the upgraded engine is capable of putting out, which, if true, is honestly such an improvement from Fallout 4.
okay. So Starfield has been announced, I think like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and that's the only thing they can show? Wow.
Now, 3 or 4 years may be true, but remember that for almost the entirety of last year, we were beset by the fucking bat plague which slowed everything the fuck down. If it weren't for the plague, I'm certain within reason that we might have gotten the game by the end of this year. However, given that we're in the middle of a fucking plague, the extended wait is completely understandable.
Same goes with Halo Infinite. It definitely looked a lot better than last year. And the online mode will be free to play. Okay, that's pretty cool. And there was going to be campaign mode. I mean, that's pretty cool, but a shooter, another shooter.
I'll have to repeat myself again here for the retards out there, but shooters are by and large one of the most popular genres among Xbox players. It's only logical that they'd highlight a shooter. It's not their fault that you're not part of that target demographic. I mean, look at his wall of virginity over here, and check out the games being displayed. It's clear where his preferences lie. And I'm not saying that because he's not a shooter fan that's a bad thing, it's completely fine. The issue here is that he's big mad that Xbox is doing business 101 by catering to their own target demographic first. This screams the level of intelligence this guy has, or maybe more accurately, the lack thereof.
The only game I was really impressed with, to be honest, was Diablo 2. No, I'm joking. That was Forza Horizon 5. Now that game looked really cool. At least that's not really right. I mean, it looked really good. But open world race game, I'm kind of more of the Gran Turismo, just racing, that's it. You know, I'm not a huge fan of racing myself, but I do like arcade racers and Gran Turismo once in a while.
Bro, I'm at the point here where I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. He's whinging that a game that's not meant for him isn't making him excited. I don't shit all over Bandai Namco when most of their stuff are JRPGs. They weren't targeting me in the first place, so why bother being disappointed?
Etc. So, to be honest, I am extremely disappointed. Extremely disappointed. They did not sway me to get the Game Pass. They did not sway me to get an Xbox Series X. And basically, they're giving Sony and Nintendo almost another free pass for a couple of years to definitely do a lot better.
I expected as much from Sony, to be honest. I guarantee you that nothing would have swayed this guy from the Japanese overlords he worships. It is hard to take any of his arguments in good faith when his wall of virginity tells you everything you need to know about him. Nothing Xbox presented was ever going to sway this guy over. Not when he staked his entire identity on the company he simps for.
Hopefully. I mean, Sony has been doing pretty okay.
Now allow me to flip the tables here. None of the Sony exclusive ever made me excited. I'm just not a fan of JRPGs or the games they tend to make exclusive. Not one of their yearly releases of third-person action-adventure games with leveling elements have ever impressed me once. The closest I've ever gotten to actual interest with a PS4 game was Spider-Man, and that was because I thought it was going to play like Arkham. Now, I was honestly disappointed with Spider-Man because it didn't click with me for personal reasons. The difference between me and this guy is that I don't give a shit that Sony isn't catering to me. If a Sony game doesn't make me excited, I just shrug and move on.
You know, Demon's Souls, Spider-Man, Returnal, that's a new IP, seems to be selling pretty well and has been received pretty well.
Not according to the amazing Lucas. Shameless plug here, wink wink, nudge nudge.
The new Ratchet & Clank seems to be fantastic. I have heard that there is a pretty big patch you need to download, and if you don't do that, then the game is kind of buggy. I'm not entirely sure if that's like a huge thing or it's just a little buggy, but that's kind of disappointing. Really makes me get less and less interested in next gen in a perspective of a game collector who loves to collect games.
I kind of actually agree with him on the part of next gen. There is no real reason to own a next-gen console yet, especially if you want to keep an arm and a leg attached to get one. Both Sony and Microsoft are going to keep supporting the PS4 and Xbox One for a few more years before fully moving on. And there isn't a single next-gen game out there that is a serious must-have. Wait it out for a few more years, and not only can you get a next-gen console at a reasonable price, but it's likely you'll have better games to play on next-gen as well.
All in all, this was laughable bad. This was laughable bad. 80% were like shooters. But I guess Microsoft wanted to go that way.
Again, with the embellishments and the falsehoods. We've already established before why he was wrong on 2 counts with that statement, so let's just skip ahead to the next statement he makes. Yes, of course, Microsoft would want to go that way, because that's where their customers are. It's basic business 101 for the company to chase after their target market. Xbox target market likes shooters, so they promote big name shooters at their event to get people to buy those shooters on their platforms. This shit isn't rocket science, and it only takes a few minutes of thinking to fully understand why they would do what they did.
Leave it in the comments below. What did you think of the Microsoft E3 2021 game conference? And like, share, comment and subscribe. And like always, you gotta see me next time.
Well, since he asked for my opinion, I'll gladly give it to him. The Xbox conference was pretty good and left me reasonably satisfied. Granted, I didn't go in expecting much, but as a PC player who is moderately interested in the stuff that Microsoft is offering, I came off the event reasonably satisfied. I didn't even mind all the indie games being showcased and thought that while some of them aren't my thing, it's pretty cool that Microsoft is giving a lot of support to these smaller studios. The only real downside to the Xbox presentation was, I think, the lack of actual gameplay or details from bigger titles. I think one of the things that a lot of people can agree with right now is that they could have showcased more Halo footage. Which, while the footage we saw was pretty cool, they also still, could have showed us way more. Which they kind of did on the Halo multiplayer showcase the next day, but that's beside the point. Getting back on topic with the video, there are 2 key takeaways from this guy that you can get. Takeaway 1. Think before you speak. Like, goddamn, take a moment to process the shit that you're going to say before you do. It doesn't take a lot of effort, and you'll find your life to be significantly less frustrating when you do. If you're going to spout off a controversial opinion, at least make it a well thought out controversial opinion. Going off with half-baked thoughts is an express ticket to getting ridiculed, regardless if it's online or in real life. If you instead have a well thought out controversial opinion, you'll at least have a leg to stand and push back on when people start calling you stupid. The second takeaway is, sometimes stuff isn't meant for you. Companies prioritize their resources to cater to people who are likely to buy their stuff. If they're not catering to your needs, that doesn't make them bad, and that makes it not for you. I don't go around and call all Souls-like games dog shit because I don't like it. Maybe except when I'm trolling, but that's beside the point. If a game isn't meant for you, just drop it and move on to something that actually is. Your life will be significantly less frustrating and a lot more enjoyable if you don't throw a hissy fit whenever a company doesn't make a product specifically tailored just for you. Anywho, we've finally reached the end of this video. What did you guys think of the Xbox E3 showcase this year? I already said what I thought, so now I'm curious to know what you guys think. Thanks to everyone who's reached this point in the video. If you've reached this point in the video, you deserve to wear a crown. Wear it, king. You deserve it. Now remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that other algorithm bullshit if you feel like it. I mean, it's not like I can hold a gun to your head and force you or anything. Thanks again, everyone. This is Cheems of Regret. Godspeed and blessings to you all. Signing out.